our guesses on that. I think you're what, week 5 against Miami. That's where you're.
Are we talking about starting or are we talking about playing?
I'm talking about starting.
Okay, yeah, week 5.
Week 5.
Give me week 5, baby.
That's when he'll start. I think it's going to be later than that. I think you're not going to see him until at least double dip, like week 10, maybe after Thanksgiving, something along those lines.
After Thanksgiving,
I think that's when you're going to see it, and I think that Tommy.
That feels
Curran,
like forever.
It does. It is going to be forever. It's going to be that kind of season. This is the type. This is what I'm concerned about. Okay, this is why when we have this discussion and we sort of bring up the merits of sticking with Brissett or going with Drake Maye, I think that their plan is not just to have Brissett out there for a month. I don't think that's the plan. I think the plan is we are going to keep Maye in bubble wrap. If it's an emergency, if Brissett gets hurt or something, fine, that's different. But what's the plan? When do they plan on putting him out there? I think it's going to be well later on into the season, and I think that that's something that Patriots fans just have to get ready for.
I don't know if what we just heard from Tommy Curran was sourced or total opinion in terms of we'll see Drake Maye when Jacoby Brissett becomes an impediment to winning.
Or even competing. Right.
Didn't we see in the preseason Jacoby Brissett being an impediment to winning?
Mm-hmm.
Throwing the ball to the other team, missing what I think are not difficult throws. Alex Van Pelt actually brought one up in a press conference, the Austin Hooper throw that could have been a first down where he just flat out missed him.
Right.
There was the Tyquan Thornton throw in the first game, flat out missed him, underthrew him. Aren't those impediments to winning?
Absolutely.
When you miss open receivers in the NFL, it's hard to throw the ball in the NFL as it is. Right? Like, we've seen it with the Patriots over the last couple of years. And then when you miss the ones that are there, you're an impediment to winning. You can't miss those. And I personally believe we've already seen an appetizer sampling of Jacoby Brissett being an impediment to winning.
We have.
That's why I think Thanksgiving, to tell me he's going to make it to Thanksgiving without being an impediment to winning. He didn't make it to September without being an impediment to winning.
Winning preseason games, and you're right. I mean, listen, he hasn't looked good in the preseason. I agree with you there. Thanksgiving, by the way, is week between weeks 11 and week 12. So one of those. That's what I'm making my book on. That's what 11? If I had a. That's what I think.
11 weeks.
Here's why. If Jacoby Brissett's the impediment to winning, it's going to have to be very, very plain that it's just him, not the offensive line, not wide receivers dropping passes, not the running game not being able to get off the ground. All of those things are going to combine together, I think, to be impediments to winning, and they're not going to pin it on Jacoby Brissett. I don't think that's the way this organization is going to go about it. I don't think that they want to put him in that position. I think that they want to keep Drake Maye hidden for as long as they possibly can. That's the only thing that makes any sense to me right now.
So I don't think they will pin it on Jacoby Brissett. We might. I don't know how we'll, but I can already hear the words that I've heard from other coaches. We just felt like we needed a change. We just felt like, Drake was ready to give us a shot out there. This is not a commentary on anything that Jacoby has done or hasn't done. He's worked hard. He's really done everything we've asked of him, even dating back to the spring, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can already hear those comments. But what you just said, there may be other aspects that will be impediments to winning, but you can't change all of them.
No.
Right? You can change the quarterback. And you already have a quarterback in place that people think could be good, including the head coach, because the head coach told us he outperformed the guy you're starting in the summer.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
and then they're not playing him, though.
I don't necessarily have a replacement for the whole offensive line, which will probably also be a significant impediment to winning.
Mm-hmm. And that's why they don't want him out there, isn't it? Isn't that a big part of it because of the offensive line?
Sure.
So if that's not going to get any better, then what the hell's the point? Like, why put him out there if you're so worried about?
Because I'm going to put the quarterback that's better that gives me a better chance.
You are, but they're not, Andy. That's the point. They're not doing it.
They're not right now.
They're not. Yes, they're not starting the year that way, despite him already winning the job.
And you said they also he. He wanted us to say he. He said it was his decision.
He wants us to say he,
so
but I'm not going to. I say they.
Use the right pronoun.
I will say they because
it's
I think
very important right now.
I think it's a they decision. I do believe that is the case. And that's it. I mean, really, this decision to start Brissett now has me very disillusioned about the rest of this year and when it is that they're actually going to, if they even do, go to Drake Maye. I think it's going to be late in the season if they do it at all. That's, of course, barring an injury. If there's an injury, they're going to have to do what they have to do. I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, all right, you've been telegraphing this plan for a while now. You've even done so much as to say, all right, we're going with this guy even though we know he's not as good. And I think that that's not something you just do for a month. I think that's something that you've planned for and you go forward with. And when you get to a point in the season where there's no pressure anymore and maybe the line's gotten a little bit better and gelled a little bit or whatever, then you try Maye out and you do it in low-pressure situations. I think that's what they're going for. I think that's what they want to do. I think that's the plan to bring him along. I hate it, by the way. I don't like this plan. I just think that's what they're trying to tell us, and that's, I think, the way it's going to go.
So it's a soft opening. I think that's what they use in a lot of restaurants,
soft,
or even buildings.
That's what it is. Yes.
I remember when Gillette opened. Actually, they started with a Revs game, so it would be a soft opening. You'd have a smaller crowd. Not the Foxborough Stadium days. They did the hard opening where they flushed the toilets all at the same time and screwed everything up, or whatever the hell happened there. I hate it. It's the NFL. This isn't Pop Warner. This isn't, he's a sophomore, so we got to work him into the lineup at college or even high school. He's a sophomore. He's not ready. The varsity guys, they're big guys, varsity football, big. No, it's the National Football League. He was the 3rd pick in the draft. I pay him a lot of money. As you've brought up, people tend to kind of waver. Is it important to have a quarterback on a cheap contract or not? Because if it's important, don't I want him out there sooner rather than later because we're using up a year of the cheap contract?
I think, yes, it is important, and I think, yes, they should put him. That's why I think they should have started him week 1 and have him be the starter right now so you don't burn a year of his cheapness. Yes, absolutely.
Right. So if that's a factor.
Because look at what these guys are making, $60 million. I mean, it's, it's not even, that's a huge chunk of your salary.
You don't get a red shirt year. You have a year I want to utilize your value because right now Drake Maye represents value. Now, to be fair, the whole quarterback position represents value because you're not spending a ton because even at $8 million, Jacoby is a palatable number. But I still don't have great arguments for starting Jacoby Brissett. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I said it yesterday. To me, I would dub it an annoyance, not a detriment to the team. But that's also me from my viewpoint of the worst thing that could happen to this team is they win games.
Right.
I have a certain plan. I'm going to have my own plan in place for the next 2 years, how I'm going to watch this team, what I'm looking for, what I'm hoping for, and that doesn't necessarily involve winning games this year. But there's not a lot of downside to me in starting. The whole fear factor thing, he could get hurt. Okay, so don't ever play him.
Anybody could get hurt.
Put him in